In the 19th century, a ship becomes trapped in the ice and stranded in the Arctic. Captain Anderson orders the crew to break the ice. Hours later, the ship's doctor calls him over, saying there's a strange light in the distance that looks like a flame. Anderson heads out onto the ice with a few men and finds bloodstains on the ground. Following the tracks, they come across a severely wounded man. It turns out his name is Victor. The moment they lift the man, a terrifying roar is heard from nearby. In a panic, they carry Victor back to the ship. Afterwards, they set up a defensive line. Soon, a frightening creature emerges from the darkness. The soldiers open fire, but the bullets have no effect on the creature. When the creature reaches the ship, it easily knocks the crew to the ground. It comes up to the deck and demands that Victor be handed over. When the crew refuses, it attacks again and defeats almost everyone. Meanwhile, Anderson fires his shotgun and manages to knock the creature off the deck. However, the creature does not die. The crew pulls up the ladder to prevent it from climbing back onto the ship. Angered, the creature this time pushes the ship from the outside, causing it to tilt to one side. Anderson fires again and shoots the ice beneath the creature's feet. The ice breaks and the creature sinks into the frozen water and disappears. Immediately after, the ship's doctor begins treating Victor. Victor warns them, saying that the creature will return. According to him, the creature cannot die and will kill anyone who stands in its way. He also confesses that he is the one who created the creature. That's why he says that when the creature reappears, Anderson must hand him over, and he begins to explain how it all started. Victor is the son of the famous surgeon Leopold. Leopold married his mother only for her wealth, and when he was at home, he was a controlling and oppressive man. Victor's parents constantly fought because of money and because of Victor. This frightened the child. After the arguments, Victor would calm his mother down and realize that his father hated both his mother and himself. Leopold teaches Victor all his medical knowledge, but punishes him by hitting his face with a stick when he gives a wrong answer. One day, Victor's mother suffers severe bleeding during childbirth. Leopold immediately intervenes and the baby is born healthy. However, the mother loses her life. With his mother's death, Victor is left completely alone. Years pass, and while Leopold gives all his attention to his younger son William, he completely ignores Victor. Victor, on the other hand, begins to question how his mother could have died in the hands of the country's best doctor. And one day, he confronts his father and tells him that he deliberately didn't save his mother. When Leopold says that no one can defeat death, Victor swears that one day he will control life and death. That night, a nightmare in which he sees an angel surrounded by flames in the darkness becomes his inspiration. Meanwhile, in the present, the creature breaks through the ice and resurfaces, continuing to search for the ship. Victor continues to tell his story. After Leopold dies, William is sent to relatives in Vienna. Victor, on the other hand, continues his education in London and Edinburgh. He dedicates years to expanding his knowledge. One day at the Royal College of Medicine, Victor claims that people can stop death and shows the remains of a grocer's corpse. In fact, the arm was taken from a carpenter. Victor has stitched the parts together. By connecting a device, he makes the corpse move, and the fact that the corpse acts as if it has come to life shocks everyone. Victor is using an electric current. One of the professors says that this is a fake trick. To prove him wrong, Victor throws a ball on the ground and the corpse instantly catches it. This proves that the brain is functioning and that the movements are not just muscle twitches. The professors see this as a desecration of the sacred and a disgusting experiment. They say that giving life belongs only to God. As the argument escalates, the crowd goes wild. Henrik watches quietly from the corner. Victor disconnects the corpse and quickly leaves the building. Henrik follows him and says that William wants to see him. William will visit Victor in a few days. William wants to introduce his fiancée to Victor. This woman is also Henrik's niece. Victor asks how his presentation went. Henrik says the presentation was strong, but Victor made some mistakes because he got too excited. He asks him to stay in Edinburgh for 3 more days, because he will show him something extraordinary. 3 days later, Victor comes to Henrik's house and brings his research with him. Henrik explains that he used to be an army surgeon and shows a completely preserved nervous system fixed to a wooden platform. The two have a long discussion about how the human body can store energy. This conversation gives Victor important ideas. Henrik offers to share all his resources with him. He says that in return, all he wants is knowledge and that he might ask for a small favor in the future. Victor says he'll think about it and leaves to meet his brother. William introduces his fiancée Elizabeth and they have dinner together. However, the dinner soon becomes tense. William belittles Victor, saying that he's always seeking attention. Elizabeth also calls him an idiot, making the atmosphere even worse. In the present, Victor starts coughing and spits up blood. The doctor immediately gives him medicine and a man calls for Anderson. It is said that someone saw the creature approaching the ship, but when Anderson goes outside, everything is calm. Meanwhile, the creature continues to watch the ship from nearby. When Anderson returns, Victor continues his story. Weeks after the tense dinner, Henrik takes his 2 siblings to an old castle in a remote area. Victor finally accepts Henrik's offer. He explains in detail how the castle will be transformed into a laboratory. Afterwards, Victor frequently goes to town to buy the corpses of executed criminals and collect the necessary parts. One day, he sees Elizabeth in town and, surprised, decides to follow her. He realizes that Elizabeth is going to confession. He acts first, enters the confessional, and pretends to be the priest so he can listen to what she says. When Victor opens the window, he realizes that Elizabeth knew he was there all along. Later, at a dinner party, Victor glances at the books Elizabeth has bought and learns that she is interested in insects. Her curiosity about science impresses Victor, and he asks her if she would like to dance. Over the following weeks, Victor continues collecting corpses and visiting blacksmiths to complete his machines. At the same time, he starts spending more time with Elizabeth. However, he is unable to make any progress in his experiments. Noticing this, Henrik pulls Victor aside and accuses him of letting a woman distract him. Henrik tells Victor that the war will end soon and that they have very little time left, giving him 1 week. After a while, Elizabeth comes to the laboratory. Victor tells her that he feels a strong connection between them and tries to kiss her. But Elizabeth pulls away and says she has chosen William. After Elizabeth leaves, Victor goes to the bathroom to calm his heart. This moment of solitude inspires him, and he finally realizes what was missing in his experiment. He changes the connection of the battery and manages to make a body move again. Immediately after, he and Henrik go to a battlefield and collect as many corpses as they can. For days, Victor works tirelessly, selecting only the best parts from each body to create a new human being. During this process, Henrik comes by from time to time and takes photographs. One evening, Victor notices an approaching storm and begins preparations to awaken the creature. While looking for Henrik, he finds him hiding behind a mirror. He sees that Henrik's hair has almost completely fallen out. Henrik explains that he is wearing a wig and has cancer and that he has very little time left. Finally, he tells Victor the favor he wants from him. He wants his brain to be transplanted into the creature so that he can continue to live. Victor refuses this and runs upstairs. He climbs to the tower on the castle roof and sets up the device that will channel the lightning to the creature. When he comes back down, he sees Henrik begging him to reconsider. He offers all his money and even Elizabeth in return. Victor refuses again and says that Henrik's cancer has poisoned his brain and blood, making such a transplant impossible. Angry, Henrik threatens to take a part of the device and throw it down from the tower. As Victor tries to stop him, they struggle. During the struggle, both the part and Henrik fall into the well, and Henrik dies instantly. Victor runs down to check the body, then takes the device part and reconnects it to the machine. However, there are problems with the device, and Victor has to quickly readjust everything. When the lightning finally strikes, the laboratory fills with sparks, and electricity courses through the creature's body. Victor disconnects the device and checks the pulse, but there is nothing. He cries out in frustration and goes to his room. That night, he has another dream in which he sees the Dark Angel. The next morning, he wakes up to a voice calling his mother's name. When he opens his eyes, he sees the creature standing at his bedside and is seized with terror. Victor approaches him, and the creature imitates Victor's every move. When Victor opens the curtains, the creature is afraid of the sunlight, but Victor shows him that the light does not harm him. He hugs the creature to listen to its heartbeat and then chains it in the tunnel beneath the castle to keep it hidden. Weeks pass. The creature grows stronger but cannot speak. Victor becomes sleep-deprived because he has to take care of it like a newborn baby, and he doesn't like the creature's touch. One day, the creature cuts itself with a razor, but the wound closes on its own. When Victor shouts, the creature gets scared and moves away. When they don't hear from Henrik, William and Elizabeth come to the castle. Victor says that Henrik will return soon. While taking William to the laboratory, Elizabeth follows the sounds and sees the creature in the tunnel. The creature reaches out its hand to her, and Elizabeth notices that it is injured. Elizabeth asks Victor why he created such a being. Victor takes them to the tunnel and explains that the creature is his own creation. The creature returns the glove that Elizabeth dropped. William wonders if the creature is intelligent, but Victor does not answer. That night, while the creature drops leaves into the water and watches them flow, Elizabeth comes to him. She tries to teach him her name, but the creature does not respond. After Elizabeth leaves, the creature manages to say her name for the first time. As Elizabeth returns, Victor sees her and scolds her. Elizabeth is disturbed by the way Victor addresses the creature. Victor says that the creature lacks intelligence and attributes this to faulty brain connections. Elizabeth, on the other hand, says she sees understanding in its eyes and accuses Victor of playing God. Angry, Victor goes down to the tunnel and tells the creature to assume a position. When the creature does not obey, Victor beats it with a fire iron, unknowingly repeating his father's harsh disciplinary methods. After the blows, the creature roars and grabs the fire iron. It bends it easily and frightens Victor by saying his name. The next morning, Victor tells William that he made a mistake and that the creature killed Henrik. He asks him to take Elizabeth away immediately. Before leaving, William asks whether the creature will live a long life. Victor says that it will have a very short lifespan. Victor then pours gasoline all over the laboratory and the tunnel. At the same time, Elizabeth gets a bad feeling and tells the coachman to turn back. Victor gives the creature one last chance and asks it to speak. The creature repeats both Victor's and Elizabeth's names. Victor decides that this is not enough and sets the building on fire. He leaves the creature chained in the tunnel and goes outside. Just as he's leaving, he hears the creature desperately shouting his name. He wants to go back, but when he opens the door, a fireball blasts him backward and severely injures his leg. The tower explodes with a huge blast and collapses. When Elizabeth arrives at the scene, she thinks she is already too late. In the present day, Anderson hears screams coming from outside and opens the door. The creature immediately attacks, knocking him to the ground and tries to kill him. Victor shouts for it to stop and tells it to take him instead if it wants. When Anderson tells it to kill them both, the creature thinks the captain should also hear its story. During the fire, parts of the device fall into the tunnel and frighten the creature. In a panic, it breaks its chains and escapes by sliding down the tunnel drain. It falls into the ocean just before the explosion. After a while, it wakes up on the shore, wanders around, enters the forest, and finds the bones of the corpses Victor used and a jacket. It puts on the jacket and moves on. It sees the deer that appear before it. It gives them some wild berries and eats some itself. Suddenly, a gunshot is heard and one of the deer is shot. When the creature turns around, it sees two hunters. When the hunters see it, they open fire. The bullets wound the creature but do not kill it. The creature escapes and gets away. After wandering for a while, it finds a farm and hides in a shed. It falls asleep watching the mice. The next morning, it hears the hunters return and tell their families what happened. In the family, there is an old blind man and a little girl. The creature watches them through cracks in the wall and follows them in the forest. Because the love between them affects it deeply. The old man teaches the girl how to read. By listening to these lessons, the creature learns to speak. It becomes attached to the family and secretly leaves them firewood, repairs their fences. The old man says that these things are the work of a forest spirit. The family leaves offerings and the creature takes this food. One day, a pack of wolves surrounds the farm and kills the sheep. When the creature sees the hunters shoot the wolves, it realizes that sometimes violence happens simply because of what you are. When winter comes, the family leaves the farm and the old blind man is left alone. The creature then enters the main house. The old man, thinking it is a guest, treats it kindly. When the creature accidentally breaks a bottle, it becomes afraid of being punished. But the old man continues to treat it well. He realizes that this is the stranger who has been secretly helping and invites it to stay with him. He calls him a friend and hugs him. They spend days together, go for walks, and the creature reads many books. He says he remembers nothing before the day he woke up on the beach, but in his dreams, he sees a man whispering Victor's name. The old man tells him to follow these visions. The creature explores the surroundings and finds the ruined castle. In the wreckage, he finds Victor's notes and photos of Henrik. Thus, he learns where he came from. On an envelope, he reads Victor's full name and his address in the city. When he returns to the farm, he sees wolves entering the main house, runs inside, and is attacked. He fights back and kills several wolves. The others flee. He checks on the old man and sees that he is gravely wounded. The creature says that he is a monster. The old man corrects him, says he is a friend, and dies. The hunters return and, thinking he killed the old man, open fire on him. They stab him, but the creature does not die. The creature goes outside, takes a few more bullets, and collapses to the ground. The hunters think he is dead and leave. Hours later, his wounds heal. He realizes that he can never die and decides that he wants a companion for his eternal life. Meanwhile, Victor is missing a leg and uses a prosthesis. Every night, he continues to see the Dark Angel, and this dream reminds him of his guilt. On William's wedding night, Victor visits Elizabeth. Elizabeth slaps him and pushes him away. It turns out that Elizabeth has still kept the leaf given by the creature. When Victor returns to his room, he finds the balcony door open. When he turns around, the creature appears and asks Victor to make him a mate. Victor refuses to create another monster. The creature throws him around the room and smashes all the furniture. Hearing the noise, Elizabeth runs to Victor's room and becomes emotional upon seeing the creature again. Victor seizes the moment, grabs his weapon and tries to shoot the creature. But Elizabeth protects him and the bullet hits Elizabeth. Hearing the sounds, William and the other guests come in. Victor tells them that the creature killed Elizabeth. The men try to catch the creature, but it easily throws them all aside and seriously injures them. Elizabeth tells the creature to take her away. The creature picks her up and carries her out of the room. As they pass through the reception, the guests recoil in fear. Victor goes to William, who is gravely injured. William holds Victor responsible for everything that happened and dies, saying that the real monster is Victor. The creature carries Elizabeth to a nearby cave. Elizabeth says that she could never find a place for herself in the world, but she has found it by the creature's side. She says that the creature has made her immortal and takes her last breath. The creature experiences great devastation. Shortly after, Victor enters the cave. The creature throws him against the wall. It breaks Victor's nose and demands that he kill what he has created. Then it leaves the cave, forcing Victor to follow. Driven by revenge, Victor chases the creature for weeks, and the pursuit continues all the way to the North Pole. After acquiring dynamite and bullets, Victor sets up camp on the ice. When the creature tries to enter the tent, Victor shoots its hand and the creature retreats. The creature grabs Victor from behind and drags him outside. When they hit a lamp, the tent catches fire. The creature breaks Victor's good leg. When Victor tries to stab it, the creature breaks his hand as well, takes the knife from him, and wounds Victor in the shoulder. Then it rummages through Victor's bag. When it finds the dynamite, it thinks it could be useful. It makes Victor light the fuse and gives him a chance to run. But Victor can't get far because he's injured. The dynamite explodes and Victor tumbles down the snowbank from the force of the blast. The creature survives. The crew finds them both at that very moment. In the present, Victor holds the creature's hand and apologizes to it. He calls it "my son" and asks it to keep on living. The creature says it forgives him, kisses Victor on the forehead, and calls him father. Victor dies in peace. Anderson tells his men to stand down and lets the creature go. As a thank you, the creature pushes the ship and frees it from the ice. As the ship sails away, the creature looks at the sun. This is something Victor taught him.